Thank you for tuning into episode 3 of Ask the Superintendent. This show's questions include school choice, snowy weather decisions, next year's calendar, and teacher evaluations. A Chelmsford resident with children in both elementary and middle school asked, how can parents give input for the next year's school budget?
Hi Simran, thank you very much for that question. It's quite timely at this time of the year as we're starting to work on our budget for fiscal year 18. If any parent or community member wants to provide input to the budget process, there are several ways for them to do so. First, we do post our public budget hearings, and anyone is welcome to come and attend. Typically at the beginning of the meeting and then at the end of the meeting, individuals can come and give input on the entire budget, specific line items or pages of the budget, and the school committee looks for that input. If people can't attend a public budget session, each school committee meeting, which typically takes place on the first and third Tuesdays of the month, includes an item called open session. So any member of the public can come and actually speak and bring up topics that they would like discussed with the school committee, or they would like to inform the school committee of how they feel on a particular topic. In addition to those formats, if you can't come out and make a meeting, one of the things that you can do is certainly call me or any of my administrative staff, or send an email to me, the members of the school committee or the administrative staff, with any concerns you might have or input regarding the budget process, and we'll take that into consideration as we're formulating our documents for the year and putting our presentations together for the community. Those are great ways to be involved in the process, and then obviously during the course of the school year, monitor school committee meetings and reports that we provide on the current budget to stay informed with changes or how we're operating the budget throughout the course of the year. But thank you very much for that budget question, and again, it's quite timely as we're entering the fiscal 18 budget season.
Bonnie Keefe has a child in middle school. She notes that with the term almost over, her child has only 2 grades posted in X2. If there was an issue in a particular class, she would not know until it was too late. She wants to know what is a reasonable expectation for parents to be seeing grades or assignments in X2.
Thanks again, Simran, for bringing Bonnie's question forward. We ask in the school district teachers to provide current information to parents regarding their students' achievement and grades in school. And typically we ask that anytime there's an assignment that's given within about a 2-week cycle or a 2-week period of time, that the teacher finish grading the assignment and then upload the grades into X2 so that the parents can stay aware of what or how their children are achieving in school, what type of grades they're getting on different assignments. From time to time, there will be events that, such as weather or vacation, things along those lines, that don't allow necessarily for an exact 2-week window where grades are posted in X2. One of the things that we recommend always is for teachers, for parents, if they have any concerns about their child's grades, to reach out to their teachers. The teachers in the district are incredibly open and always looking to have that communication with the home and the parents. You can certainly give them a call at the school. You can send them an email if you're concerned about your child or their performance on a particular grade or how they're doing in a particular marking period. So if you don't see a grade posted in X2, we ask and urge you to take that next step to start the conversation with the teacher, particularly if you're concerned about your child's performance. Again, through an email or a phone call, just to make sure that you are staying current with what your child is doing in school, how they're performing, to best keep that line of communication open between yourself and the teachers.
Andrea Gauntlet, with children in all levels of Chelmsford schools, asks if you like the school lunches.
Bethany, thank you very much for bringing Andrea's question forward. I have actually, as the superintendent, tasted the school lunches at both or all levels of the district, the elementary, the middle, and the high school levels. And I, like anyone else, have some meals that I prefer over others. I think you'd find that in just about any school system that you look at. Our school nutrition program, I think, does a very good job of providing balanced meals to our kids that conform with the various guidelines that they have to provide meals under. Danielle Collins, our food service director, has been on board now. This is her 2nd year, and she has worked very hard to add some different menu options to our schools, to really push some more fresh vegetables and fruits in our menus. And if you do go to the Chelmsford Public Schools website, there is a whole page dedicated to school nutrition and lunches. So there is a lot of work that's been underway to actually try to improve and to increase participation in our breakfast and lunch programs within the schools. I'm very happy and proud of that work. I think Danielle does an outstanding job. If parents or students have any specific items that they would like to see either added to the menu or added more frequently to the menu, they should certainly bring that to the attention of the food service worker in each of our schools. So if they'd like to see particular menu items appear more often, or if there's ones that they would like to see appear less, please let your food service workers in your schools know that. And as they work with Danielle to produce menus for weeks and months ahead, they can plan accordingly to try to provide those options for our staff and students in the district. But overall, I think the staff in the food service program does a very good job of meeting the needs of the kids and families in our district.
A Chelmsford resident notes that we have now been almost 3 years without an English or science coordinator. Are there plans to add these positions back into the budget for the next year?
Thank you, Bethany. This question has been on the minds and has been asked several times over my year and a half here in the district. Sometime back, the district had to unfortunately make some staff reductions, and 2 positions were eliminated: our coordinator for English and our coordinator for science within the district. Those duties ended up becoming paired with other positions in the district as a cost savings measure. So we now have a coordinator of mathematics and science as one position, and we have a coordinator for English language arts and social studies as a second position. So those should actually be 4 individuals, but we have 2 individuals fulfilling those roles at this point. Last year, through the budget process, we were able to identify a funding source to bring back 1 position, and the school committee and the administration elected to try to bring back the English coordinator position. We posted the position several times, and unfortunately, due to the timing of the year, we're not able to attract really the qualified candidates that we would like to have for that position. So we decided to hold off and not fill that position, and we have included funding for that position in the fiscal 18 budget and hope to actually post and attract a really quality candidate for that a little bit later on this spring. As we go through the fiscal 18 budget process, the school committee will be looking at all of the coordinators in the district. And I'm sure when we get to that point in the budget where we talk about the English coordinator position, the subject of the science coordinator will come up at the same time. It's certainly a position that, as an administration, we want to bring back to the town and to the school system. We see incredible benefit in that position. It has really been a budget allocation and resource issue at this point in time. So I do anticipate the school committee having some discussion about if we only have funding for 1 coordinator position this coming year, which coordinator should we try to bring back. We'll be working with my administrative staff to help make and craft that recommendation so that it's consistent with the goals and objectives that we're trying to accomplish over the course of the next school year. So that's in line with our hiring. But we very much would like to eventually bring back both coordinator positions and be back to full staff within our various curriculum realms as the district looks to advance to the next stage in our goals and planning process.
Celia Lopez of Lowell has a daughter in high school and would like information about enrolling in CHS through the school choice program.
Thank you, Tarmo, for bringing forward Celia's question regarding school choice. The Chelmsford Public Schools does participate in the school choice program, which is really a unique opportunity for students who do not reside within Chelmsford to be able to attend one of the Chelmsford Public Schools. On an annual basis, each school committee in each city and town in the Commonwealth need to vote to indicate whether they want to allow students to attend their schools through the school choice program. We have about 50 students that do attend Chelmsford Public Schools this year from some of our neighboring cities and towns. And the school committee on an annual basis, it usually happens at the end of April, early May, will vote to indicate a number of spots or a number of available spaces for students to fill. It can be as specific as we have one or two third grade openings at a particular elementary school. We might indicate that there are so many spaces available at one of the middle schools, however not another. And then when it comes to the high school, we take a look at, obviously there's only one high school, we take a look at how many incoming, say, 8th graders are going to 9th grade, and how many spaces we might be able to make available for other students to come in. The Chelmsford Public Schools benefits financially from participating in the school choice program. We receive about $5,000 of tuition assistance from the sending district. So it does not cost the family anything to enroll in the school choice program or to enroll your child in the Chelmsford Public Schools under school choice. We benefit and actually do take in a little bit of revenue, which can be used to offset some of our operating costs, and you do see that as a line item within our local operating budget. And it's a good opportunity if we are experiencing lower enrollments in certain grades or schools to be able to provide a little bit of financial resources to the district and still keep the student-staff ratios in line with the rest of the district. I anticipate the school committee will be making a decision sometime again in late April or May of this year to see if we'll be enrolling students through the school choice program for the 2017 and 18 school year. I would highly recommend you look back to our district website. When we do make a decision about that, it will be posted as a link off of the Chelmsford Public Schools main website. There is a tab for school choice. And if you're looking to see if we're going to be enrolling students for the following school year, follow that tab as we receive updated information. All of the information regarding the number of students, the grade level that we'll accept them at, will all be posted to that website.
A writer with a relatively new driver in high school asks what the criteria is for school delays or cancellations due to snow.
Thank you again for this question, and it is quite timely given that the season that we're in. Whether to call a delay or a cancellation is very difficult for a superintendent in a school system. Delays typically occur if there is some kind of a weather pattern or a storm the night before, and we know that the schools just need an extra hour or two to be able to prepare for kids and staff arriving the next day. So if we know that the storm is basically passed, that the weather and driving conditions are going to be okay for the day, but that they need an extra hour or two to just clear away remaining snow or do any salting and sanding, delays often do come into play. Cancellations are a little bit more difficult. As a superintendent, the easiest thing to have happen is a foot of snow, and you can cancel and not have to think about it, but typically that doesn't always happen. One of the things that we have to take into consideration when we're potentially canceling school, it's a decision that actually starts very early in the morning. So at about 4 o'clock in the morning, different individuals in the district are actually driving streets. The bus company has buses out to try to see how the buses are handling in the weather. I put a call into the Department of Public Works and I talked to them for their expertise and their opinion on whether the streets are passable, whether the school lots will be plowed and sanded before students and staff start to arrive. We speak to a weather service to actually figure out what the snow amounts or the rain and ice amounts are going to be for the day. So there's a lot of information that goes into those decisions. I never want to put student safety at risk or staff safety. And oftentimes students are the main consideration. We have to consider the high school students that are actually driving their own vehicles to school. We have to consider the safety of parents who are transporting their own students to and from school over the course of that day. Buses are very difficult vehicles to drive on a good day, so if you throw any kind of inclement weather into the mix, obviously it can be difficult. And I also think very seriously about the kids who are waiting at bus stops. There are going to be other cars that are going to be traveling by the bus stops. What are the conditions going to be for those students? You would never want to see someone be injured at a bus stop waiting for the vehicle to come. So there is a lot of information that goes into whether to cancel school for the day. The other consideration that we have to think about is our staff, and we certainly don't want staff being injured coming to or from school. And we have a considerable amount of staff that live outside of Chelmsford, and they're commuting in from other towns and even states because of our proximity to the New Hampshire border. So we want to make sure that everyone can actually get to school. We take a look at staff, and I actually look and see how many staff have indicated that they wouldn't be able to come to work for the day because of the drive. That goes into the consideration as well. And we try to make the decision by 5 a.m. to give people plenty of time to plan accordingly. So by 5 o'clock, if we have decided that there's going to be a cancellation, we post that cancellation on the major news stations, 4, 5, 7, and 25. We also send out a district Connect Ed message to families, so there's an automated phone call that goes out. Sometimes it does take up to 20 minutes to a half an hour from the time that we actually place the call until it's received by all 4,000 or 5,000 telephone numbers that we're sending it out to. So that does account for some of the delay. And we've also tried to use social media so that we will post the cancellations on our district website. We will post them on our Facebook pages, and we'll also post them on Twitter. So if you are a Facebook follower or a Twitter follower, we highly recommend that you follow or friend some of the district staff to be able to get those announcements as soon as they're available. But the decision to either call a delay or a cancellation is one I take very seriously, as do all other superintendents in the area. It is not a perfect science, but we will always err on the side of caution and safety. It is not worth putting a staff or a student in harm's way to be able to squeeze in a school day. Thank you very much for bringing forward that question.
A Chelmsford resident writes that she has seen Chelmsford will move to a full-day kindergarten next year. Is it a choice to opt to enroll her child in half-day kindergarten also?
The Chelmsford Public Schools will be moving towards full-day kindergarten in the fall of 2017. We enrolled students in January, and we have a second enrollment period coming up in April. But all kindergarten children in the Chelmsford Public Schools will be participating in full-day kindergarten starting in the fall. Where the district is going to provide a full-day free kindergarten program for all children who reside within the town of Chelmsford, there is no half-day option provided by the school system. If parents sought to provide on their own a part-time kindergarten option, they certainly can avail themselves to that. But the Chelmsford Public Schools will only be offering a full free day kindergarten program for all students in the Chelmsford Public Schools beginning in the fall of 2017.
A resident with children in elementary and middle school asks when the 2017 to 2018 calendar will be finalized and made available to the public.
Thank you once again, Simran, for bringing forward this question from a parent. The Chelmsford School Committee recently, just within the last month, approved the school calendar for the 2017-18 school year. We will be beginning the school year again after Labor Day, which has occurred in Chelmsford for the last number of years. Over the course of this past winter, we did survey parents and staff to try to find out if they would prefer going back to school, as many communities do, the week before Labor Day as opposed to the week after Labor Day. We received very good feedback from parents. There were approximately 3,000 parents that responded to the survey, and a majority did indicate a preference of going back prior to Labor Day. Staff also preferred going back prior to Labor Day, but when we looked at the calendar for the coming year, again 17-18, we've decided to keep the start consistent with past years to go back the week after Labor Day. Part of the rationale was related to the extensive work that's going to be taking place this summer at our elementary schools to construct the modular classrooms that were previously approved by town meeting last fall. So we're going to have some pretty significant construction going on at all 4 of our elementary schools this summer, and we wanted to buy ourselves a little extra time and not feel rushed trying to get into those buildings for the start of the 17-18 school year. So this coming fall, all children will return to school actually Wednesday, September 6th, after Labor Day, and we will again next fall possibly look at changing and seeing how the community feels about potentially going back prior to Labor Day in future years. But the school calendar has been established. It is posted to the Chelmsford Public Schools website, so anyone can go on the website and receive a copy of the school calendar. The school calendar includes the start and end dates. It also includes all the professional development days and vacation weeks over the course of the year so that you can plan your schedules accordingly.
Tracy Callahan has children in elementary schools and asks what is the best way for a parent to give feedback that would be considered in a teacher evaluation. Currently, a teacher can voice dissatisfaction to a principal, but would like a more documented approach to a performance assessment.
Thank you, Bethany, for bringing Tracy's question forward regarding teacher evaluation and how we work on that in the Chelmsford Public Schools. At this point in time, there's been a significant amount of work over the last number of years regarding teacher evaluation and implementing a new teacher evaluation tool with our staff in the district. And this has taken a concerted effort of the teachers in our district as well as the administrators who work with them. The teacher evaluation process as it stands now is very comprehensive. It starts each year with the individual teacher working with their supervisor. Generally, it's their school principal, assistant principal, or department coordinator to determine exactly what type of goals that they would like to achieve over the course of the year, how they would like to work on trying to align what their individual goals may be to the school goals and also the district goals. And then the teacher and the supervisor agree on what type of evidence the teacher will provide to show that they're satisfying those goals and they're making progress towards those goals. And the administrator who ultimately is evaluating the teacher looks over the course of the year to see if that evidence has been provided and provides feedback to the teacher on those goals. There are some teachers that do ask for student and parent input through surveys with regard to how they feel the instruction is in their classroom and in their particular course. Oftentimes they're looking for that feedback. We don't as a district have an across-the-board kind of way for teachers to provide input to the teacher evaluation process at this point in time. It may come at a future time, but what I always recommend is for parents to be very active in their child's education and really bring to the attention of the school principal, as it appears you've done in this case, the good things that they see going on in the classrooms. What are the practices that they really like to see? What are the feedback that their children are giving them regarding the instruction that they're receiving? Pass that along to the principal so that they can see the positives that are taking place within the school. And then also talk with the principals about the areas of emphasis or what they would like to see possibly changed or have become more of a focus in the teachers' work and in the school's work over the coming year. So parent input is certainly critical and welcomed in the process. At this point in time, we don't have a consistent across-the-board way for parents to provide feedback for specific teachers in the evaluation process. The process is very much driven at this point in time between the teacher and the supervisor. And I think the way for parents to provide input is really to have that connection with the school principal. And again, talk about the areas that they really like to see going on in their child's education, what's going really well, and then also talk about those emphasis points where you'd like to see something either a little bit different or something be emphasized in a different way for the following school year. So that the principal, as they're working with the teacher to establish their goals and objectives for the following year, can take that feedback into consideration as they're mapping out what that teacher's plan is going to be for the following school year. I would just like to take a moment to thank the members of the school committee and also Board of Selectmen for recently voting to approve the statement of interest that will be submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority to work on a new school building project in the town of Chelmsford in the coming years. As you know, over the course of this past year, the school district undertook a pretty significant comprehensive facility assessment of our buildings. We had a series of community visioning sessions throughout last spring, summer, and fall to try to put together two different things. The first was a 10-year capital plan for the Chelmsford Public Schools to take a look at our existing facilities and put together some short-term options for trying to improve our educational spaces to meet the programming needs and desires of our community for the relatively short term. And a second piece of that project was to gain some consensus around a school building project that we could submit to the Mass School Building Authority to have them work with us on a longer term option or a longer term plan. So both the school committee and the Board of Selectmen recently approved me submitting an application to the MSBA to express interest in the coming years of having the state partner with the Chelmsford Public Schools and the town of Chelmsford on a school building project. We had several different options to look at. There were elementary, middle, high school options, and ultimately the school committee, and then supported by the Board of Selectmen, will be submitting a statement of interest related to a high school project. So we're looking to work with the state over the coming years on a long-term solution for Chelmsford that will deal with some of our student enrollment needs. Our needs are at the elementary school grade level, but what we have decided to do is try to tackle that project by freeing up some space in the higher grades and then be able to shift our enrollment up through the district to meet our space needs at the elementary school levels. So at this point in time, there's been a lot reported about this statement of interest that's going to be going into the MSBA and what exactly does a high school project mean. It does not necessarily mean a brand new Chelmsford High School, but what it means is that we will ask the state to work with us to look at a high school level option. It could be a new school, it could be an addition renovation to a current school, but what we're hoping for is the state to be able to come in and actually work with us, take a look at what our needs are, take a look at what our available funding is, what the state would be able to match as far as the program is concerned, and help us put together a long-term strategy for dealing with some of our space needs in the district and also addressing some of our enrollment needs at the elementary and middle schools in the district. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank the community, in particular, thank the members of the school committee and the Board of Selectmen for taking that first step with me and with the school district in allowing and authorizing that statement of interest to be submitted to the MSBA. That's the first step in the process. It'll take approximately 9 to 12 months to find out if we're going to be invited to work with the MSBA on the project, but if you don't take that first step, you can never take the second. So I thank them very much for their commitment and for their helping championing this project forward. I very much look forward to working with both groups as well as the state on a long-term capital project within the town of Chelmsford in the years to come.
Thank you for watching Ask the Superintendent. We hope you enjoyed the show and encourage you to send in questions you may have. If you would like to submit a question, please click on the Ask the Superintendent button on the Chelmsford School website.